Welcome to Little Birdie TV. I'm your host, Scoot, and it's time for our Open Championship podcast. I think it's our favourite time of the year. We only get to do 4 of them. We'd love to do 400 of them. And it's great to have Nick Toprope Tedeschi with me. He's the cheerleader for Tyrrell Hatton. Again, Scottish Open. He loomed large and choked yet again. He just can't put him away. He's got a potty mouth. But welcome to the show, Toprope.
Give me a T. Give me a Y. Give me an R. Here we go. No, it's Open Championship week. We're Liverpool. It's got a different feel to the rest of the majors in the US. So very, very exciting. It's a little bit sad as well. The last time we'll do this for our Masters next year.
If you tip Tyrrell Hatton this week and he doesn't run top 10, I'm nearly going to sack you from the podcast.
That sounds a bit spiteful. I'll give you a tip. You'll be in the
Oh, at least you'll get a good 8 months, 6 or 8 months, or however long it is to get over it and think about it. And if he doesn't run top 10, which I'm probably now going to have a little side action and lay him myself, just for some added spice, I think, you'll have to sit in the naughty quarter for a very, very long time, and I'm definitely not taking you to the Masters next year. But Dogga, golf's super hot. We said it last time. Just with all this live stuff, it still just feels like golf's on the every sort of front, back page that you see everywhere. There's still talk about the Shark. I see Cam Smith's now chummy with the Shark. He wants to stay on. Not sure how old mate Jay's going with his heart issue or whatever, but tell you what just a great time over in London and England to be around sort of the golfing world. And you were there in 2014, is that right?
17, Spieth year, Birkdale, not far away from where they're playing this week at Liverpool. So it was a great trip. Anyone that wants to try and get to to any major, I'd highly recommend the Open Championship. It's probably the easiest one to just go and buy tickets to. They do have a ballot now, but I think it's pretty easy to get tickets and head off and do, especially if it's close to a city. It's very good to do.
And weather, you just got to take the odds to it.
Buckle up, yeah. You leave a Melbourne winter to head to a Melbourne winter. Realistically, very, very similar. I think I was shorts and a t-shirt most days, but I had the wet weather gear and an umbrella as well. The whole 3 days I was there. So. Yeah, stock standard British weather.
It's been a huge build-up this week with Rory McIlroy closing out. He broke through really nicely, and defending champ Cam Smith closed out the Live London event. So the stage is set for a pretty amazing weekend, I would have thought. And as I said earlier, Royal Liverpool for the first time since 2014. I think Rory was victorious, and prior to that was at Tiger Woods and Nick Tedeschi. I'm just stealing his off-air content here, but they've only played, this deck 3 times since 67 or something?
Yeah, that's good parroting the Scoops. This is the third time since 1967. It wasn't used between 67 and 2006 when it went with Tiger, right? It's a couple of notes. It's I think scores of -7 and -18 of one. It's hasn't proved a particularly stern test, but of course, like every Open Championship, we'll test this. It's going to be dictated to by conditions. So let's hope the heat wave hits and the wind is furious.
A couple of the early flyover videos I've seen, it does look a little bit narrow. The bunkers look diabolical, but what is the weather looking like this week, Dogga?
Yeah, I think what you've just described is pretty accurate, mate. It's going to be a narrow fairway, keep it out of the pots week. Look, the weather is probably a little bit disappointing, to be honest. I think last week in the Scottish we saw super hot, super strong winds, and I think everyone gets a bit excited for the fire and brimstone. But this week it looks a little bit different. Winds 16 to 20 k's an hour, nothing super. All the way through Thursday through Sunday. Thursday looks like it's going to be dry. Friday, pretty dry, maybe a little bit of rain overnight and then some rain over the weekend. So realistically, if I look at the days for the weather and the play, Thursday and Sunday look the best days. So sadly, unless something changes, I think you're not going to probably see someone come from the clouds with a better draw on Sunday. But no, looks like it'll be a pretty stock standard Open Championship weather week. Bit of rain, a little bit of wind, but nothing too crazy.
Do you reckon anyone can go full Sam Burns? If anyone's seen it, just put Sam Burns into your Twitter search out there. I think it was like nearly a 20 or 30 minute delay. It felt like an hour watching it. He took 3 shots to get out of the pot. He was stuck embedded in that front wall, and everyone was sort of howling. Everyone wanted to see maximum pain. They didn't want him to get free relief, but they just plug in there and they just look impossible to sort of get out. And some of these bunkers at Royal Liverpool, they look deeper and taller than my house, Dogga. I think you're just going to have to take your medicine. If you land in one of these pots, it's an automatic 1-shot penalty. You reset, and there'll be less, I guess, fairway irons and longer irons out of these suckers.
No, I think Michael Kim, if anyone doesn't follow him, one of the players from this week, I think he's the rank outsider in the field, has been putting some really good stuff up on Twitter this week reviewing it. And he sort of said, narrow fairways, you're going to need to be hitting them. It has been a bit green, a bit wet. Bunkers, don't go near them. But yeah, like you said, you're going to be coming out sideways. Sam Burns last week, on the riveted face, he wasn't even embedded. I mean, it sort of hit and then came out. I don't know what he was complaining about. Typical snowflake PGA Tour player, I think. He was never going to get relief there. It was kind of hanging on a bit of grass. It's easy enough to hit it, go and hit it. But yeah, I think we all love these sorts of championships. I think we all love watching these guys go through a bit of pain as well. So hopefully that we get some.
Just thinking about the course profile, is the stat that matters, is it similar to the last major, driving accuracy and guys off the tee that are accurate with a little bit of distance behind them, and then players with pretty accurate iron games like Scott Scheffler. Is that the course profile and the stats that matter this week?
I'm definitely looking at guys that are strong off the tee, not necessarily just long. I think it'll play long, but I really want some accuracy too. So all-round driving is really key for me. And if it's going to play long, you're going to need to hit those longer irons. So guys that are hitting those longer irons, small greens. So I want guys that are hitting greens. Greens and fringe in regulation is going to be optimal. And then, like most weeks, if you can get half that done and make some putts, you're going to be well and truly on the way. But I think that if someone can be smart enough to plot their way around, not necessarily be a super, super bomber only, have a bit of accuracy, stay out of the pots, make some putts. Simple as that, really. Just chalk up an age to yourself.
It was interesting. Brooks sort of alluded that length wasn't really a big issue, and if the weather's pretty favourable, maybe that makes a lot of sense. Let's have a quick look at the market, courtesy of TopSport. Make sure you have it with TopSport. You'll see in the big bet section later on, they are not scared to take a generous size wager, and I think Nick Tedeschi might have splashed a couple of his Christmas in July. He's put his tax return just straight back into the Open Championship, which doesn't surprise me, and it's probably encouraged. You've probably got your tax return to lob up there if you've kept it away from the missus Toprope, but the new market here at TopSport is Rory McIlroy, 875. He's coming off the win, so he's probably crunched in a couple of points there. Scott Scheffler, he's ever consistent on the similar quote there. John Rahm, $13. He's gone a bit cool. Cam Smith, as I mentioned, last start winner at $20. Brooks Koepka into $21. Tommy Fleetwood looks sort of menacing for 3 rounds in the Scottish Open at $21. Patrick Cantlay, $22. Victor Hovland, pretty popular at the moment, $22. Ricky Fowler, Big Dick Rick, he's back in business, and he's looking better than ever. He's got that swing completely fixed, $23. Tyrrell Hatton, that's Nick Tedeschi forcing that price in, $23 in a Schauffele. I tell you what, he loomed up last time in the major, but typical fashion, starts like Tarzan and finishes like Jane, $23. Colin Morikawa, surprise winner, $29 of the Open Championship a few years back. And then you got Dustin Johnson, who sort of looked menacing in the last US Open, but sort of exploded in a couple of areas there at $29. And then Jordan Spieth, $29. Shane Lowry is going to have some fans with the Link style, $41. Matt Fitzpatrick is one to watch, $56. And it was hard not to be impressed by Wyndham Clark and the way he sort of carried himself after his major win. I guess this is the time we start talking about the for and against with the main pick. So Rory McIlroy, I don't know who wants to start the batting here, but personally I was pretty happy to hear the way Rory spoke after his win. I think his confidence seems to be getting close to what's needed. He's also put in a sneaky little club. He's got the driving iron in there, and it sounds like he's got rid of one of his fairway woods, so maybe a little bit more accurate for those longer shots. And interesting enough, it's sort of a weapon of choice that Cam Smith and Brooks Koepka have used with a lot of success. So a lot of those players are starting to opt away from the fairway woods and spraying them. So that could have been a critical tool in why Rory closed out last week. But who wants to open the batting with Rory?
I'll go. No, he's a disappointing one, Rory, not because I don't think he can win, and not because he's probably, shown over the last sort of 12 months that he's been a little bit up and down for people's sort of visibility, but he's still in the top 3 golfers on the planet. He's going to be the one I'm going to put a line through this week that can't win. He's a red hot favourite. if nothing else, I just believe in the law of averages. You win last week, you're not winning this week. I know that sounds stupid, and I know there'll be punters out there going, doesn't work that way, but you know what, in golf it does, and people don't tend to win back-to-back too often. He sort of reached the summit last week with the Scottish, and he finished great. I think there'll be pressure on him this week to win and back it up after that. No, not that I say he doesn't love the pressure, but yeah, he'd be one that I sort of won't be going near this week, especially at that price.
Absolute milk tricker. Leave me out of Rory. Dogga's right. You won last week. Well done. You won a PGA Tour event. Congratulations. Try and win a major. You've been top 3 favourites for every major in the last decade, and he hasn't won one since he last on 2014. So obviously has the game to compete, but his putting stats aren't great for mine. And I think you're going to have to go low this week. I mean, obviously, he can go low, but I don't know that this is going to be ideal for him. Yeah, I'm just way too short for him. Way too short.
Scott Scheffler's the equal favourite. Toprope. Tell us why you think he can win.
Well, he can win because he's playing at such an elite level tee to green. It'd be kind of remiss to leave him out. But again, too short for me. Like he leads the tour in stroke stand off the tee, greens in red, stroke stand approach, bogey avoidance, 4 of the key stats I've got this week. And he's top 5 in par 5 scoring, birdie average, total driving, and scrambling. So obviously, yeah, suits well. I've got not only the links courses as guides, but I had the players and Phoenix Open are 2 guides as well. He's got one of both those. So I can't put a knock on him. He's just too short for me taking a major. But yeah, of the top 3 in betting, Scheffler's the one I'd rather bet on.
Dogga, you sort of kicked up for him last tournament?
Yeah, I mean, I can make the same argument as I did last time. The honest answer is he's playing the best golf of anyone in the world. He just needs a putter to come good. And my theory was he might get that to happen at the US Open, and it didn't. And sadly, it hasn't since. So he still hasn't quite got that putter going. I'm going to leave him out on price. If he does it this week, it wouldn't shock me because that's what happens with the punting gods. You zig and they zag. So I won't be having him on price, but yeah, if he gets that putter right, he's going to be right there.
Jon Rahm's been in the wilderness ever since he won the US Masters. He's had a different sort of build-up. He's been playing some links golf around the traps he didn't play in the Scottish Open. But can you see him featuring this week?
For me, he's my pick. He'll be my number 1 pick this week. I think he's a bit of a forgotten man. I think, if you rewind anything, he's going to be the guy that was kind of with those other 2 guys, has been right at the pointy end of the market. I think he's nearly 5 points better than the other 2. I can't argue with that. 10th at the US Open, Cup the Travellers, hasn't played since. He's freshened up. I think he's ready to go. I think he's certainly not uncomfortable in this part of the planet. I think he's the guy that most people probably won't be looking at, and I'm very happy to take the price.
Forgotten runner, Nick Tedeschi.
Yeah, I can't argue with any what Dogga said. I think he's got out to a very backable price this week. Going to the last 3 majors, he's been right in that mix with Scheffler and Rory in terms of price. He's separated himself a little bit this time. Love that he's freshened up. Got great install. He's won an Irish Open. Won the 2022 DP World Tour Championship, which I think is a guy. Also has a great record at Phoenix. Leads to a birdie average, 2nd par 5 scoring. Yeah, no real worry. Only concern is off the tee. It doesn't really rank high enough for total drives for me. But yeah, no knock on him at all. I think he'll absolutely be contending this week.
Cam Smith looks like he's peaking at the right time, wants to defend, thinks he's only got the claret jog out on loan for a week or it'll be out of his possession. Love that little bite in the media. So he's starting to hum at the right time. And again, off the tee, yeah, he's probably more suited to links golf than anything else. He can get a bit snappy, but in the distance, he's not obviously the biggest hitter out there. So this could be a definite track that could suit him.
Yeah, I would say the traditional open course would probably be more suitable. There's, I think, 6 out of bounds right here. It's obviously 1 on the squid wouldn't suit me with that big slice I've got rolling. But I do worry about his accuracy from the tee because I think, not only is he going to follow rough, I think there's a lot of penalty strokes to be picked up from the tees here, and that is a concern to me. There's absolutely no doubt he's timed this run beautifully. Like, I think he has really worked his game. It's the right thing. Obviously, winning in But you can kind of see it building from kind of Adelaide up and through the majors. It's just been kind of rolling nicely. But obviously, as the game through it, there's probably no better putter on the planet still. He's as good a bunker player as there is out there. He kind of fits a profile that I love, a top 40 player, won in the last year, has a history of good form in the Open, a history of good form in recent majors. But, the price, probably not going to take him just because of his the concerns off the tee.
Hard to go back-to-back?
Very hard to go back-to-back. I can't think of, maybe someone has, but in my memory, I can't think of anyone. Everything the Toprope said, I absolutely agree with. I think, for me, it's really tough with the guys that play on the Live Tour. If you look at what he's doing, you would say 100% he's getting better, but it's really hard to look at him against the field. So I don't have in-depth on the stats of how he's performing on the Live Tour. So it makes it really difficult to line it all up. He's certainly one of the class players in the world, but he's just running in different fields. So when they all come together, it's very, very, very hard for me to line him up mentally. I'd be great to see him have a good week. I think the other thing probably going against him is, like Toprope said, is that driver. I think if it was a bit drier, I think he'd probably get a bit more rollout and distance. But he's going to need to keep it on the planet, definitely. But yeah, I'm not quite sure about Cam this week. But everything else you need for an Open, sand play, putting, he's elite.
My man Brooks Koepka, he's got all the tricks in the bag and he just rises to the occasion. Majors Brooks, they should call him. $21. He'll be definitely getting some of mine. Just love everything about him. Nick Tedeschi, can you make a case for why Brooks is suited here or not?
Yeah, absolutely. He is my top selection this week. I'm with you on Team Brooks. Got some live stats here. Leads the Live Tour in greens and regs, strokes gained approach, bogey avoidance this year, second birdie average, fourth par 5 scoring 10th, strokes gained off the tee, second sand saves. But not only that, his major form is utterly ridiculous. He's won since 2017. 1-5, runner-up in the 6 times, I think it was. So incredible performance to kind of have that record in majors. And his Open form is underrated. He has a tremendous record in the Open. He's a very good win player that, it's often forgotten, but Brooks did start his professional golfing career on the DP World Tour, and he's very used to playing this part of the world. And everyone goes, well, Brooks is just this fantastic US major contender. He rarely has a bad Open. I know he missed the cut last year, but before that was 6th, 4th. I'm very, very keen on Brooks this week, and I think he's out to a very, very good betting price this week. That kind of $21 or more.
Bit of nodding from you there, Dogga. Happy to be with him.
I won't be investing in him, but I understand why everyone will. Like you both said, like when it comes to majors, there's he's not quite Tiger Woods, but he's 9 miles away for a bloke that just shows up every single time. No matter how you think he's going, he somehow finds great form come majors week. For me, everything there says exactly what I couldn't back up Toprope more. I think that people forget that he started on that Euro Tour. He's used to travelling. He's used to playing on different tracks. Nothing's going to shock him. He's got the right mental game for it. He wouldn't shock me to see him right up there, but I just won't bet on him. He's just one of my picks this week.
Tommy Fleetwood, he's been in the mix in the US Open. He looked good in the Scottish last week. Missed the cut in the Travellers, but seems to be peaking at the right sort of time and is thereabouts in the Open Championship. A lot of pressure being a hometown player, but what are your thoughts of his chances here, or maybe even a price? He does look skinny at the price. He looks like he's well found, but does look suited.
Yeah, I think he's in my top. He'll be one of the 3 I'm working around this week. I've kind of been a bit burnt by him, so he was my very heavy bet come Birkdale, 2017. So based on the fact that he's from this part of the world and how he was playing at the time, and I think this week a lot of people will be looking at that lean as well, sort of thinking, wow, he's from that Liverpool way. Everything kind of suits for him. He's playing great golf. He just hasn't been able to close. And there'll be a lot of pressure, as all those guys from the United Kingdom have when they get out towards an Open Championship. But yeah, I think he's playing well enough. I'm kind of almost more comfortable that he won. He didn't win last week and Rory won. If it had to switch the other way, I probably would have been more confident on Rory than Fleetwood. So yeah, I'll stick with Fleetwood this week in the top 3.
Yeah, not having a bar at Tommy Fleetwood. Would love to see Tommy win. Would love to see Tommy. I absolutely love Tommy. He's from this part of the world. He's a great personality. He's a big rugby league man. So a lot of ticks for me. Just does not win. Just does not win for mine. So, and if we were seeing Tommy at 40 or 50 to 1, I'd absolutely be looking in for a top 5, top 10. But $23, just far too short for me. I was feeling this conversation might be reversed when I'm talking about Tyrrell Hatton. Dogga's doing this.
You could be correct there.
I think we're both found our weakness, but the cat I'll be backing is a different Englishman.
He was born 30 kilometres up the road, Toprope.
I don't reckon there is any bigger lay in any tournament anywhere in the world than taking on the hometown guy. Backing against the hometown golfer is about as good as it gets from one. So look, I would if Tommy's in the mix and he's not against one of mine, I'll be shooting the whole way. I love Tommy, but not for me.
Yeah, I couldn't agree. After having a little rough speculator on Max Homer, gee, I tell you what, wasn't he the first horse beaten at LA? It was embarrassing. And to rub further salt in the wounds, he went back to the club and started hitting on the range. He'd already been knocked out of the tournament. I was embarrassed for him. I wouldn't show my face.
I don't want to get a bit of a look at the weekend, you reckon?
Yeah, I'd be at the Beverly Hills Hotel drowning my sorrows in frozen or just any sort of margarita, spicy, coconut, anything. I'd just be having 2 at a time. I'd be double parked. I'd be so embarrassed at the hometown tournament if I turned up like that. Patrick Cantlay, $22, seems like he's ultra short. Any case for or against, or happy to let him slide?
I feel like he's the bloke, along with another bloke we'll probably get to, where you could probably just literally get a soundbite from every other major we've discussed. He's a great player. He's got all the form. He looks like he's going to be there. He just doesn't win. He just doesn't win. It concerns me. He drastically concerns me this week, but he does every major because everything says he's going to have a good week. He ranks 4th in my data, but I won't be backing him.
Yeah, he's in my set this week. Patrick Cantlay, I don't want to come into these players I absolutely despise because it kind of tells me there's no emotion involved in this one, which is nice. So, Hatton, which we'll get to, but. I like Cal this week. He leads the tour in half ice scoring, second in birdie average. But the key to me is in this field, he ranks 8th in average first game in windy conditions. So I think that kind of works well for an open. He's in that right kind of profile of age range, good history in majors. Look, that Dogga is 100% right. The non-winning is a massive issue. And look, if this was Patrick Cantlay, I think at the US Open, might have gone off $19, $18. I wouldn't be looking at him. But at the price we've got now, I'll be having a little something on Patrick Cantlay.
Victor Hovland's been pretty popular. A lot of group chats, a lot of mates. Everyone's jumping on his bandwagon. They see the European form and the player. Is he someone that can contend here, Royal Liverpool?
He's my number 2. So, yeah, for me at the moment, I've got Rahm, Hovland, and then Fleetwood. This is the first time I picked him, so I'm finally joining him with everyone else. I had a lot of people message me last start that they thought he would win and I didn't like him. Look, his form coming in's okay. It's just good enough. His form in the Open's great. So I think his biggest pot has always been his chipping. He seems to be getting a handle on it. I think if he can hit enough greens, that's not going to be the biggest concern. I think everyone else is going to have the same issues with rolling into a rough or rolling into a pot. The limiting that's going to help him. But I think for me, he's my clear number 2 pick.
Yeah, like no knock on Hovland. Let's look at certainly in the kind of mix for that kind of Patrick Cantlay block level bet from mine. But I'd be rid of him. He's just not one of mine. Can't catch him, but I do love that this is not in the US, but he doesn't have the best record. I don't know if he's got a good record over in Europe. His game suits perfectly. I don't think he gets flustered, so I think that kind of suits well to kind of finding yourselves in long roughs or bad breaks and pop overs. I think he just kind of, he's got that goofy, stone off his head smile that just kind of just lets him just roll, which I think that's one of the key reasons why he performs so well in majors. I just don't think that's stuck it to him. But not one of mine, but I can absolutely see him winning, and he'd be another great addition to the map to the list of major winners if he was to win.
The other good thing is going in his favour is his outfits are nothing short of horrendous, and they will be again this week. but with the rain, he'll have a jacket on, cover him up. But that's only going in his favour.
Speaking of bad outfits, Big Dick Rick's next in the market, Ricky Fowler. He was pretty impressive. He sort of let him up in the US Open. And surprisingly, in 2014, he was tied second at this track and trip in the Open Championship. Last time it was played at Royal Liverpool. So, tell you what, the stars are starting to align for Ricky.
I'll tell you what wouldn't surprise. What didn't surprise Scoot was that he might have jumped second. He also finished second. That is not a surprise at all with Ricky. He doesn't win a lot of these majors. In fact, never. He's playing great golf, and I think when we look back on the story of the 2023 season, the re-emergence of Ricky will be front and centre for feel-good story of the year. Absolutely been fantastic. He's won, and not only did he his breakthrough win, but he's kind of contended in a major. Yeah, he's contended last week in Scotland, but no, I can't have Ricky the price. I can't have Ricky starting with a 2 in anything. Sorry.
Geez, you led me on there. I was you were painting a beautiful picture and then left me just standing at the altar.
The price is the inhibitor. I'd need him a lot more than what he's. I'd need him nearly doubled to invest. I think he's playing great golf. He's heading in the right direction. He's won a Scottish. Those are all great indicators of him going well this week. But I'm just not quite sure he's there yet. And if he is, good luck to him. But if I miss him at 20 odd, I'm comfortable.
The final player in the top 10 that we'll talk about, and you can basically put the podcast on mute for the next 45 seconds if you've heard an absolute gutful, and you had an absolute gutful by backing this bloke in every major that we've covered in since the existence of Little Birdie. But Toprope, without further ado, tell us why Tyrrell Hatton's the best links player in the world.
Well, no one's had more of a gutful than me. Don't worry about betting tax returns. It's paying off bookmakers or bet Tyrrell Hatton with over the last 2 years. Look, there's no time I love Tyrrell more than the Open, and just you're not going to find a player who's got better form in the correlating courses. He's obviously won the Alfred Daniel twice. He's finished 2nd and 7th the last 2 years. Scottish Open 25th, the top 25 the last 2 years. Great record of the players. Went well at Phoenix this year. 2nd on the DP World Tour last year. His putting has been elite this year. Top 10 on the PGA Tour. Stroke down putting average. Surprisingly been good off the tee this year. It's first game off the tee. Again, like you mentioned, it's that will to win. I really don't know a will to win, because he definitely has the will to win. It's the ability to win and control his emotions, which is the biggest issue. So, but he's got a nice open record, and I would be on. I think he's at regular prices.
When you back him, just make sure you have enough on to shout me a trip over to the Open Championship next year. Just do us a favour.
Bobby won't a chance to get back onto a Little Birdie podcast again if he does.
Oh, I had no idea what you just said in the last 45 seconds. I completely tuned out. I don't really care. But Dogga, subjectively, can this guy win or not in a very, very short few words?
Short version is he can win. I think the last sentence Toprope said is the part he's got to get right, and that's the mental game. He just seems to find a way to – I think he's got a trigger in himself to try and switch his mentality, and it's where he gets fired up and angry. And I think that's his way of kind of keeping in the game. I think he's got to find a new trigger because it's not working. And I think he needs to fix that. He's got talent to get there, but yeah, the mental piece, I can't have him. But Toprope, I like me any price left after Toprope's done anyway, so that's fine.
The Open Championship first round leader, Dogga, the hot start. It seems to be crucial in the last few majors. Is there anything, any meat on the bone? I know you always advise your tips and selections and betting strategy with ultimate caution. You always pick a couple of speculators. I think Andrew Putnam, he was in the mix last time at Monster Odds. So you can find the bolter, but whether they can hang on or whether they get pipped out of this first round leader, what's a little fun appetizer bet that we could follow you in on the first round leader, mate?
Yeah, we found, I think it was Lucas Glover last week at 65. So that was a good start to last week to help fund this week. I'm sticking with the morning groups. I don't necessarily think it's going to be a massive lean to the early morning being better than the afternoon, but I'll still stick with the guys on a fresh track. I've got 5 as normal. I've literally got one full group. Well, I think it's the third group out that I'm taking all 3 of those guys. Lucas Herbert at 100 to 1, Ryan Fox at 70 to 1, and Ben Ann at 80 to 1. And then about 3 groups later, I'm taking 2 of the 3, Xander at 38 and Cam Smith at 29. So I think those 5s, it's worth, $5 on each of them, and then just watch how they roll out. And here in Melbourne, by the time you wake up in the morning, hopefully there's a little kitty there ready to go for the rest of the week.
Cha-ching. Yeah, I tell you what, it's you probably average 2 bottles of red across the 4 days, and you probably need a massage at the end of the 4 days because your back just gets so deeply embedded into the couch, and it's one of the best viewing tournaments of the year, isn't it, Toprope? As much as I love the Masters and love watching other ones, just the schedule here is just absolutely beautiful. Starts in the late afternoon, and it just takes you through to 11 or 12 o'clock at night.
It's the best, and I don't look at the TV schedule. From memory, they do show, this is one of the majors, but they do show a lot of it early on where you kind of get the featured nips and all that. And unlike some of those US majors where we're kind of not getting coverage for the first 4 hours or 6 hours, we're going to get a lot of this one. So it's very, very exciting. It's perfect coverage. Look, I absolutely love just 4 o'clock on a Thursday afternoon. Just let's get stuck into it. And I'll tell you what, there's nothing more exciting than come 10 o'clock on a Thursday night of an Open Championship and realising you've already lost 27 3-ball bets.
Oh, good. All right, let's summarise your best, your next, and your roughie. I can zip through them to save some time. But John Rahm's your top pick, Dogga. Victor Hovland's the next best, and then I'd say roughie, but he's not really. Tommy Fleetwood's sort of your third pick there. But is there a bolter or is there a knockout runner at
I'd
big odds?
I'd probably go with Siwoo Kim. He's about $126. He ranks real high in my data. I'm not absolutely confident he can win it, but $9 for top 10, $4 for top 20. They're not bad prices.
Beautiful. Toprope, you've got Brooks Koepka on top. Next best?
Tyrrell Hatton.
And then you usually give us 2 or 3 roughies at cricket score odds.
Yeah, got a few roughies. You can get a good bet about Tony Finau. It's about 50 to 1. I think he's a great winning player. I think that's over the odds there. We have something on Patrick Reed at about 70 to 1. And the ones at cricket score odds, I've got Adrian Moron at 150 to 1. I think he's a great pick. European Tour form has been very, very good. And a real cricket score, and this is for your kind of top 20s, make the cut. Romain Langas, 500s. I think he's one of the best bets of the tournament. $3 for him to be top Frenchman. Romain Langas.
All right, beautiful stuff. I haven't heard of him, but I'm happy to gamble at those sort of odds. If anyone's still listening, I'm going to have Brooks as my biggest result for the tournament. I've gone full merch, full Nuffy mode after he got the chocolates for me, and the USPGA got the Team Brooks merch. Fits like an absolute glove too. Just normal sizes apply there. And I think the hardest to beat would be Scott Scheffler. I think he's just knocking the door down. He's doing enough. When he's putting that badly and getting so close to them, it's a matter of when, not if. His iron play is just unbelievable. And I think the best roughie in the field, I think he can maybe get about 40s sort of around the traps as Dustin Johnson. Yeah, I know you guys don't think that you have to be an absolute bomber, but we haven't covered DJ. Any thoughts about DJ? I thought he looked okay in the US Open, and I think he's got an okay record in some of these Open Championships.
I think he's not just the bomber though. I think he's definitely got the distance, but he absolutely has got more than that. When he's got the putter working, he's exceptional, and I think he's certainly not the worst bet this week, Scoot. So good bet there, good pick.
5 top 10s in his last 11 Open Championships as well, so has no problem playing in the UK.
I just think he's got the mental game, and as I always say, I just like guys in the right sort of headspace and mentally strong to close out. So
you like big dogs. You like big dogs, Scoot. You like alphas. That's exactly the kind of milk for you. We all know your profile for you.
You just need to be bull, and you need to be confident. And again, I'll be absolutely sick, but I think I'm going to leave Cam Smith. He's usually my sort of Tyrrell Hatton sort of man, but at least he actually finds the line. But But it's going to be great viewing, and sadly, I think this is our last podcast. But around the grounds, Toprope, is there any other real sicko prop markets? I know you're going to be betting in all the three balls, but top Aussie markets, top European, top live, is just give us your top 30% of bets that you've had. The first maybe 5 or 6 that you fell into.
I was going to say we did not have time for the top 30%. But honestly, I've got given you Lagas, which is my favourite, so the top Frenchman. Top Australian, I'm going to have something to Lucas Herbert. I think he's a nice bet at $10. I think he's in for a nice tournament. Top South African, Brandon Grace. I think he profiles very nicely. The live guys, the top 2 guys, but I've got under the live some of the live stats, and Brandon Grace should be favourite in that market. He's a clear top pick there. And top lefty, which is always one of my favourite markets. I'm taking on Big Bob McIntyre after last week. I think he's a bit short. I'm going with Brian. I think he will, as Rez will suited here. So, and of course, in those markets, you can take on Phil Mickelson to your nosebleed. It's in top lefty markets for every major for your own out, except possibly the last. So, there's a few there for you. To keep you going.
Outstanding stuff. All right. Hopefully you guys have found a winner, or you've laid a couple of camels or cats along the way. I'm sure Xander's been in the mix on a couple of those occasions. A big thanks to Top Sport, Punting Form, the Comics Lounge, and all our sponsors at Little Birdie Podcast and Little Birdie TV. It's big thanks to Dogga as well. We've loved his work, and we could love to have him on more often. But yeah, I think that's a wrap from our Golf Majors podcast series. So big thanks, boys. And just remember, Toprope, we get Tyrrell home for that top 10, or it's curtains next year. So if you're an aspiring golf analyst, make sure you drop us a line, because chances are he's not going to finish top 10.
It's been nice knowing you, boys.
Thanks for your time this year, Dogga. It's been great insights.
Thanks, mate. Appreciate it.
Cool. All right. Good luck this weekend, and make sure you get the bottle of red, get the couch, kick the missus out of the house, and enjoy the weekend of golf and have a bet with Top Sport. Thanks, guys.